Hey there, I'm Julie, and this is the Married to Addiction podcast. If you're here, then you're probably what I call my secret sister. We're in a situation we never asked to be in and fighting a battle we never wanted to fight. We're faith-filled women who are married to an alcoholic, and it affects every inch of our lives. If that sounds like you, then this is a safe place for you to land. Married to Addiction is a faith-based podcast where I help you find the tools and strength you need to navigate your husband's addiction without losing yourself in the process. So please subscribe and tune in as often as you can, because your husband's recovery is important, but so is yours. The Married to Addiction podcast is brought to you by the Secret Sister Circle. The Secret Sister Circle private group coaching program was designed to take the Christian wife of an alcoholic from hurting to healing. If your life feels unmanageable because of your husband's drinking, if you feel consumed by his addiction and you're constantly trying to figure out how to stop it, if you have let everything else in your life fall by the wayside, including yourself, then the SSC was created for you. I actually built the SSC around what I needed back when my husband was deep in addiction. I clearly remember sitting on the floor of my closet one day, just bawling and frantically searching Google for help. I couldn't really find what I needed, which was help, detailed help, step-by-step help, designed for a Christian wife, because it was also super important to me to have that element built in because of my faith. And I wanted to be guided by that, from that angle. So if that sounds like you, we would love to have you join us in the Secret Sister Circle. You can get the help you need without feeling exposed. It's a private online program with a private online community of other wives just like you. And you are taken step by step through every possible scenario that you could encounter as the wife of an alcoholic. We would love to have you join us. You can get started beginning today and start moving towards healing. Just go to www.marriedtoaddiction.com and look for the tab that says Secret Sister Circle. We'd love to have you join us. Hello, and welcome into episode 105 of the Married to Addiction podcast. Today's episode is called New Year, Old You. So here we are in 2025. Of course, we're a few weeks into it now. And this is about the time that any resolutions we've made are usually out the window, or at least we are starting to struggle with them. It might be a new year, but you're finding that you're already quickly slipping back into your old ways and your old habits. So why is it always like that? We start every year full of determination and hope that things will get better, but it quickly dwindles. Well, the simple reason for that is that change is hard. And even if we don't like the way things have been going and we truly want change, somehow the status quo still seems easier on some level because it's familiar. So today I want to talk about a couple of things that you might want to focus on if you are in the position of desperately wanting change for yourself and your situation, but A, you either don't know where to start, or B, you find that you're not able to stick with it once you do start. So the first thing that I want to recommend to you is a shift in mindset. Now, you've heard me talk about mindset on my podcast before, and I also teach this in my private group coaching program, the Secret Sister Circle, from the beginning. Women come into that group, the Secret Sister Circle, sometimes with guns blazing, and they're ready to start taking action right away. And some of them do. They come in and they skip the initial lessons on mindset and they go directly to trying to immediately implement the other tools and strategies that I teach a little further along. But what I see time and time again is that they then become quickly frustrated because they haven't laid the necessary foundation, which is shifting your mindset around certain things. So think of your mindset like the foundation for your home. If you just bought a lot of land in a neighborhood and started trying to just create and build walls directly on the ground, do you think that structure would stand? Of course not. Same goes for when we are trying to make positive changes in our life. If we don't lay the proper foundation first, then our efforts from there are likely to topple. and not be successful. So the first thing I want to encourage you to do if you are having trouble making change or sticking with change is to focus on your mindset. I know that sounds maybe simplistic, maybe a little woo-woo, but I'm telling you, if your mind and your psyche is not on board with what you're trying to do, it's just not going to work. Of course, if you need some specifics on how to shift your mindset from the wife of an alcoholic's perspective, you can get step-by-step help for that in the Secret Sister Circle, which you can find on my website, marriedtoaddiction.com. The second thing I want to encourage you to do, if you are desperately wanting change for yourself but are finding it hard, is to partner with God. Isaiah 43:19 says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? I'm making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." But how will we find the way, or how will we find the streams if we aren't tuned in to what God is trying to do in our lives or trying to show us right now? So often we will just run ahead, doing things the way we think we need to, or even go behind where we've been, go back to places where we've been that didn't serve us well, trying to figure out if we could maybe do things differently. And we're completely ignoring the way that He is trying to take us. So will we still get to where He's trying to take us eventually? Probably. But will it take way, way longer? Yes. Will we also endure some unnecessary heartache? Yes. So one of the best things you can do if you are wanting change in your life for the better is to seek out and follow what I call God's flashlight. God's flashlight only lights up one step at a time. So if you think about holding like a handheld flashlight and you're in the woods, for example, you can't hold just a little measly flashlight out in front of you and see the entire woods and see the entire path forward, right? You can only see what's at your feet. You can only see the thing that's right there that you might trip on, that might cause you to fall. That's how God's flashlight works. God's flashlight lights up that one step at a time. But the beauty of that is you don't have to worry about the whole picture. You just have to worry about the next step. And you don't have to worry about figuring everything out for yourself. What's it going to look like a week from now, 3 months from now, a year from now? Like all of that we tend to try to figure out for ourselves. You don't have to worry about that. You follow God's flashlight a little at a time. And how do you do that? You pray for direction, one. Then you listen for the guidance. I know you've heard me talk about this before, where a lot of times we do what I call drive-through prayers, where we're just like, okay, God, I need you to fix this, help me with this, etc. Okay, thanks. And then we just go on to the way that we were doing things before. The praying is the first part, and that's a really important part, of course. But after that, you need to listen. You need to look and listen for that guidance. And then once you start feeling it or seeing it, then you take that next small step that He's guiding you towards. This also increases your faith because you don't see the whole picture. You just let Him guide you step by step. Now, a spoiler alert here. Following God's flashlight and doing things step by step like this will often look like working on you first. So I want you to be prepared for that. But I promise you that any work He has you do on yourself will then make everything going forward so much easier. I have lived it. I am proof of it. So lean into that work that He's wanting you to do. I've mentioned this before too, but one of my favorite Joyce Meyer stories is that she was praying to have more patience. She's like, God, I need more patience. I'm too impatient. Please give me more patience. But instead of God granting her more patience, like genie style, okay, you have more patience. Instead, He gave her a lot of scenarios in her life where she could practice and develop her patience. So suddenly she's finding herself in the slowest checkout line, in traffic in the middle of the day when there's usually not traffic, like all these things that were really testing her patience, but those were opportunities for her to do things differently, for her to practice being patient, for her to develop her patience. That story always makes me laugh, but it's so true. That's how God works because He wants to teach us to fish. He doesn't want to just give us the fish. Right? So understand that this is probably going to have some work for you in this process. But again, lean into that because it is so powerful and it will truly change your life. So there you have it. Those are 2 places to start moving forward into this new year if you are wanting to see positive changes in your life. Number 1, work on your mindset. Number 2, seek out God's flashlight. So hopefully that feels a lot less overwhelming for you, just having those couple of things to work on first. And of course, if you need any support specifically related to being the Christian wife of an alcoholic, you can find tons of resources on my website, www.marriedtoaddiction.com. As always, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time. Hey, one more quick thing before I let you go today. Do you follow Married to Addiction on either Instagram or Facebook, or both? If not, I would love to have you join me over there. It's a great place to stay connected with everything that's happening with Married to Addiction. I post updates about my podcast episodes, of course. I post about my freebies. I post about my programs. I post encouragement in the way of Bible verses and things like that. I also post just like some helpful little teaching nuggets sometimes too. So I really think that you would get a lot of value out of that as the wife of an alcoholic, and I would love to have you join me on either Facebook or Instagram, or both. You can find me at facebook.com/marriedtoaddiction or just at marriedtoaddiction on Instagram. I hope to see you there.